Hey everyone, welcome to this Kinstretch mobility class specifically tailored to improve your hip mobility for a better guard in Jiu-Jitsu. So we're going to set up with just a passive stretch. We've got our right leg on the floor, our left leg crisscrossing over the top of that bottom leg. We're going to rotate our chest into that top left knee, and I'm hugging that knee. So I'm trying to get my chest close towards that knee, and I'm dropping my right shoulder down towards the floor. So we want to keep our spine in an extended position. So our chest up tall, and we're pulling our chest towards the knee. And the further our left foot is towards our right hip, the more stretch you're going to get. So you can just readjust, pulling your chest towards that leg, towards the thigh, as much as needed. Again, working with the breath, like most things we're doing. We're trying to get a nice big stretch sensation on the left glute, and even in that piriformis. So becoming more familiar with the stretch sensation is important with this class. And with a lot of Kinstretch work, we're not trying to conform to a specific shape or pose or posture. Everyone's body's different. We can use these drills as a guideline, but feel free to readjust, play about with the positions, the angles, and you'll know what feels right for you. So a few more big breaths here, just trying to relax. Becoming more familiar with that stretch sensation. Okay, good. So we're going to swap round. Same thing on the other side. So this time our left leg's on the floor, the top leg now becomes our right leg. So we turn into that top right thigh, using our hands to hug that leg, hug the thigh close towards our chest. And this time we're dropping our left shoulder down towards our left hip. And the right foot comes closer towards our left hip as well. Keep the chest up tall, pull the chest towards the knee. Making a nice stretch on the right hand glute. Few big inhales, exhales, try and extend your exhale out a little longer. Keep readjusting as needed. A few more breaths. Dropping that left shoulder towards the floor. And relax. So we're going to flip back around. We're going sideline position. We're working the same tissue. This time we're working the left hand side. So left leg comes over the top. We're going to use our bottom right leg and knee and thigh as a sort of a passive block, so the foot doesn't slide away from us. So bottom knee stays where it is. We're going to start to drive this top foot into that bottom thigh. By doing this, we're contracting the top left glute. I want this to be a strong contraction. Push hard. Relax. The left foot's going to stay on the floor, and now we drive that left knee away from our chest. So we get more external rotation of this top leg. We relax. You can pull that left foot up towards your chest as needed. Again, see how my bottom knee follows so that it doesn't slide away. Big breath in, contract, maintain this position, push that top foot into the bottom thigh, contracting the left glute, and hold, keep pushing. Keep going and relax. Left foot stays on the floor and we drive that left knee away from our chest. So we get more external rotation. Push. Good, let it relax. We got a couple more. So we pull that foot up towards the chest again, moving deeper into range. Notice how our bottom knee follows. And we push that left foot into the bottom thigh again. We're looking at contraction of that top left glute. And hold the contraction. Maintain it. It's hard work. Push and relax. Left foot stays on the floor. We push the left knee away from us, so we get more external rotation here. Very important range of motion in Jiu-Jitsu. And relax. So we're gonna come out of range a little bit. We remove the bottom leg, we lift the top leg, and we're actively externally rotating the foot towards the face. We relax, we bring us a little bit deeper in the range of motion, so I'm using my bottom knee to do that. I actively contract the top leg, I'm trying to externally rotate, I remove the bottom knee, I lift the foot, and we're pulling the foot up towards our face, actively externally rotating. Set the foot down. Reset. Bring yourself deeper in the range of motion. Actively trying to lift the foot up towards the face. Remove the block, then lift the foot out, up and away from the floor. Go again. Reset. Remove the passive support. Lift the foot. Externally rotate the foot up towards our face. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to touch our big toe to our nose. Another round, same thing. Couple of breaths, reset. Remove the passive support, lift the foot. Big toe to nose, let's work. Last round. Work, work, work. Rotate, big toe to nose. Hold and relax. So we're going to swim that top leg round and we're going to come up into a 90-90 position. If you're unfamiliar with this position, I'm going to put a link in the bio or description down below. I would advise pausing this video, going and checking out that video so you're familiar with the setup. If you are familiar with the setup, get into your 90-90 position and I'm starting to mobilize that left pelvis and the left sit bone down towards the floor. It may feel a bit weird after all the external rotation work we've just done, so take a wee second. I'm using my left hand just to give me a little bit of guidance on my pelvis and just rotating it down towards the floor. So we were working external rotation, we're now working internal rotation from this 90-90 position. So nice tall chest, reset into our full 90-90. Arms stay straight, we're going to pivot on the back heel. Left knee comes up and away from the floor, contracting that left hip. Of the left glute, sorry. Spine up tall, hands on the floor. Right knee stays glued to the floor. We're pivoting around the left heel. Knee comes up and away from the floor, contracting that left glute at that end range for a few seconds. Then we set it back down. Spine stays tall. Try not to lean too much to the right. pivot on the left heel. Knee comes up and away, contracting that left glute for 3, 2, 1. Back down. Good. Couple more. Reset. Right knee stays glued to the floor. Pivot round that back left heel. Knee comes up and away from the floor, contracting that left glute. Hold. Knee set back down. Nice. Big breath in. Hands planted. Pivot. Knee comes up and away. Squeeze that glute hard. Let me set back down. Okay, so foot swims up. We're going to lift the knee up towards our left shoulder. And then we're internally rotating and we're trying to set the knee first and then the heel follows. So knee comes up towards the shoulder. We internally rotate. Back. Knee comes down first. Then the foot. Notice I'm leaning a little bit forward and to my right. You can do that. It's fine. It's a hard movement, but try your best not to lean. As you rotate, try and get the knee behind the line of the pelvis. Then the foot sets down after the knee. So knee up towards our left shoulder. Then we internally rotate all the way around. Knee sets down behind the line of the pelvis. Then the foot follows. We go again, knee up towards our left shoulder so we get a bit of hip flexion. Internally rotate, knee comes behind the line of the pelvis, sets down, foot follows. Last one. Up, internally rotate, nice and slow. Knee sets down first, then the foot. Very nice work. So we're going to swap to our left hand side and we're going to work through all that again. So this time we're working the top right hip. Again, we're using that bottom left knee to create a passive block so that that top foot doesn't go anywhere. And you can pull yourself up into as much external rotation here as you need. Then we're driving that right foot into the left thigh. We're contracting that right external rotators. It's actually the right internal rotators in an externally rotated position. We relax. The foot stays where it is, but we drive that right knee away from us, which in turn creates more external rotation in the right hip. Good. Once we relax, you can pull your foot higher up towards your chest if you need. Remember to keep that left knee as a block. I'm also using my hand here, so I can drive that right knee away from me, or the right foot away from our chest a little bit harder. Hold for a few seconds. Then we relax and we drive that right knee away from us. Hold, work hard, relax, readjust the position if you need. Then I'm pushing my right foot into that bottom thigh. You'll even get a contraction on the left hip flexor because we have to fight against the resistance of that top foot. Relax, grab the foot if you need, push that top knee away from yourself, away from your chest, so we get more external rotation. Okay, nice. Last one. Push that top foot away from you. So we're contracting that right glute. Relax. Last time, drive that right knee away. So we create more external rotation on this right hip. Good. So we're going to move out of range a little bit. I'm just resetting here. So out of your end range of motion. Then we remove the passive support, which is our knee. We lift the foot and we're trying to externally rotate the hip, which means we're bringing that right foot up towards our face. We reset, we pull ourselves into a little bit more range. Notice how you've got more range passively as you will actively. Remove any passive support, lift the foot, rotate the foot up towards the face. Big toe to nose. Grab, pull yourself back up into end range. Take a second, big breath in. Pull, lift, rotate. Set back down. Reset each time you're making it as difficult for yourself as possible. So foot up towards the chest. Remove any blockage, the knee or the hand. Lift the foot. Bring the foot closer towards the face, using only the hip. Set back down, I think we've got one more. Big breath in, actively rotate first, remove any blockage, lift the foot, try and maintain that angle. Hold, this is really hard work. Okay, this is the last one. Big breath in, remove, hold, rotate, get that foot up towards the nose. No, we've got one more. No, that is us done. Okay. So we come up into our 90-90 position again. This time we're working the right hip. Again, just take a wee sec to mobilize that right hip tissue. It can feel a bit strange because we've worked so much external rotation and now we're into internal. So we're trying to mobilize that tissue around that right pelvis, the right hip. And we're bringing our right sit bone down towards the floor. In turn, that's going to create more internal rotation at a right femur, which creates more internal rotation at a right hip. So again, I'm just using my hand on my right pelvis just to drop it down towards the floor. So we set up in our full 90-90, hands on the floor, chest up tall, spine long. We're going to pivot on the back right heel this time. Knee comes up and away from the floor, contracting the right glute, hard and end range. Our left knee stays on the floor. We can readjust the angle if you need. We pivot round that right heel, hands stay on the floor, knee comes up and away from the ground. Fight in the end range, squeeze that right glute hard, hold it there, get as much range. Set back down, we go again. Each time you can readjust the angle. Make sure the knee, your right knee, is behind the line of the pelvis. We go again, lift the knee up and away from the floor. Get higher than you did the last two times. Hold, squeeze that right glute. Let it relax, couple more. Big breath, chest up tall. I'm shimmying my foot back a little bit to make it a little bit harder. Keep a 90-degree bend at the knee. Up we go again. Squeezing that right glute. Get it up and away. Hold. Set back down. I think we've got one more. Chest up tall again. Try not to lean to your left. Hands stay on the floor. Pivot on that right heel. Big breath in. Squeeze. Contract. Knee comes up and away. Hold. Squeeze. And set back down. Just taking a wee breather here. So into our internal rotation parachutes. So knee comes up. We internally rotate. We set the knee down first, then the foot. Again, Trying to keep a 90-degree bend behind the knee. Try and not pull the heel towards the hamstring. So you don't want much hamstring engagement here. It should be from the outside of the right hip. A little bit of glute. So we bring the foot in underneath. The right knee lifts up towards the right shoulder. Then we internally rotate. Try and get the knee behind the line of the pelvis. Knee sets down first, then the heel. You notice I'm leaning a little bit in front and to my left. That's completely natural. If this is completely unachievable to you right now, you can lean a little bit more to make it easier. Or if it's too easy, keep your hands on the floor, keep your spine up tall, and try and not lean. We've got a couple more. Knee up, internally rotate all the way around. Knee sets down first, then the foot. Okay. So we're gonna swap into a butterfly position. I'm using 2 blocks here. If you've got 2 blocks, perfect. If not, a couple of books. Anything that gives you some sort of passive block. So we want the knees to be a little bit higher than where you can get them to. So I can get my knees to the floor, so I'm keeping my knees a little bit higher out of end range. So we grab our feet or shins. Ideally, if you have your back up against the wall here, it's a bit better, but for demonstration here, I don't have that. So big breath in, lots of contraction. We're driving our knees down into the blocks or into the books or a passive support. So we're looking to engage the glutes here as hard as possible. So really driving them knees down hard into an immovable object. Here then I'm moving the blocks out a little bit so I get deeper in the range. But we want to still be touching the blocks. If you're not touching them, then you don't need to move them. So big breath, squeeze the glutes, drive the knees into an immovable object. And hold. Get as much contraction at the glutes as possible. So I'm setting the blocks on the side so I can go deeper. But notice when I drive my knees down, I'm still touching the blocks. I'm pushing into the blocks. If you're not touching them, then you've gone too far. Big breath, squeeze the glutes and drive hard. We're looking for 3 by 10 seconds of maximal contraction in the glutes by pushing the knees into blocks or an immovable object. Once you've done 3 rounds of 10 seconds, remove the object and then we're doing reps. So I'm lifting up and then driving the knees down by contracting the hips, by contracting the glutes, sorry. So butterflies here, drive the knees down, hold for a second, bring them back up and repeat. We're doing 8 reps with 1 or 2 seconds at end range. Notice I get a little bit lower each time. As I get lower, I pull my heels towards my groin. You can place your hands behind your back as shown. I don't like this one as much. I prefer grabbing my feet or heels, but if your back's against the wall, it's even better. Good. So take a wee breather. We've done a bit of work there. You can stretch out a little bit. Or rotate the hips a little bit. We've got another round of this. You can do 2 to 4 rounds of this. In this video I'm just doing 2, but the beauty of doing this work at home is you can just pause the video and do another round if you so wish. So grab our blocks again. We go back up into our starting position. So even though I get my knees to the floor, I want my knees higher, a little bit out of end range so I can create more force, more contraction at my glutes. So big breath in, squeeze, drive the knees down into the blocks or a movable object if you have one. Contracting the glutes hard. Take a breather. If you've got the range, move the blocks down. If not, keep the blocks where they are. So big breath, Drive the knees down hard, contracting the glutes as hard as you can. We get as much neural engagement here as possible. Again, we're holding for 10 seconds. We relax. If you've got the range, move the blocks out a little bit so you can go a little bit deeper. If not, keep them where they are. Big breath again, third round. Squeeze the glutes, drive hard into the blocks. Keep that contraction at the glutes. Hold and relax. Remove the objects that you have, and we're doing reps. So knee comes up, knees go down, and I'm staying active here. So I'm pulling my knees down, using my glutes. Pausing at the bottom for a second or two. And you can keep pulling your heels towards your groin to go deeper in the range. Again, if your back's against the wall, I feel you can pull a little bit harder. So I would recommend doing that. Once we've done 8 reps, just hold here for a few seconds and then range, maintaining, pulling the knees down using the glutes. And relax. So we've done 2 rounds. Again, if you want to pause it and do another one, by all means. So we're into our last thing. So we're going to work on right leg. So left leg just sits underneath. We want our spine up tall, hands behind the back, or if you're up against the wall, even better. So we've got a bit of hip flexion. So we lift our right knee up towards our right shoulder as high as we can. Don't let the spine flex, keep the spine up tall. We're contracting the hip flexors and quads here as hard as possible. 10 to 15 seconds. We set it back down. You can allow the knee to come outside of the shoulder a little bit. Depends on your hips. Big breath in, chest up tall. Pull the knee towards the shoulder. We want the angle between the thigh and torso as small as possible. Contracting the hip flexor, lift. This is hard work. Set back down again. Keep that spine as tall as possible. Big breath in. We contract the hip flexors. We lift the knee up and away. We're compressing here at our torso and thigh. Knee to shoulder. Hold. And relax. Big breath in. Spine tall. Contract the hip flexors. Lift that knee up and away. Compress. Thigh to chest. Lift. And we relax. Nice work. We swap round, pull that bottom right foot in underneath. Taking a wee sec to recuperate. Hands behind the back if you're not up against the wall. We want the spine as tall as possible. We lift the left knee up towards the left shoulder. Trying to bring my thigh and my torso as close to one another as possible. Again, very important position for a guard in jiu-jitsu. Bringing that knee up towards the shoulder to avoid anyone getting that side control, torso space. So big breath, lift the knee. Up again, contracting the hip flexor, hold, maintain it. (10 to 15 seconds). We set back down. Couple more. Spine up tall. Use your hands if you need. Big breath in. Contract the hip flexors. Lift the knee as high as you can. Compressing towards your own torso. Last effort. Big breath. Let's go. Contract, compress, lift, hold. Fight. And set back down. So that's just one round of them. I'd advise even doing a couple more, but for demonstration purposes I just done one round. Just having a wee stretch, and that's the end of class, guys. Thanks so much. If you have any questions on anything, please send me a message, let me know. More than happy to help. Take care.